about the JUnit test cases we have discussed actually. So JUnit, as we already discussed, if I want to test any individual classes method by method, if I want to test it, I'll go for my unit testing. And since we are studying in Java, unit testing in Java, we are going for a framework called as what framework?
JUnit.
We have JUnit 5, that is your latest version of your JUnit, and we have your JUnit 4 is also there. Normally, we'll be using that also. We'll be using actually. And the main differences between this JUnit 4 and JUnit 5 will be based upon their annotations actually. Okay. And how you will be defining like I want to test a particular method in a class, I want to test it. So how you will indicate that particular method is a testing method?
Test
annotation. Okay, you have to define an annotation called test annotation. And if I want to invoke any method before each test, then you will be going for a method annotation called
Before each.
And after means you can go for after or after each. And before every test, if I want to invoke means I can go for before all or before class. After means you can go for after all as well as after class actually. And if I want to ignore any test cases now, you can go for an annotation called ignore or
ignore,
disable.
So whenever you're going to that is in the case of core Java part actually. But whenever you develop any application in the case of Spring or Spring Boot now, obviously it will be having how many layers it will be containing?
3 layers.
Controller, service, repository actually. So whenever the user sends the request, first the request will go to my controller program, and from the controller program it will go to the service program, and from the service program it will go to the repository program. So repository program now obviously it will communicate with the database. So at the time of testing, each time hitting the database, it is not a good practice. So I want to always create some mock of the information I want to create it. So for that purpose, you will be going for a framework called as Mockito framework. Okay, you will be going for a framework called Mockito framework. So it is an open source Java and basic testing framework in order to create your mock objects. And whenever you are going to write the test cases for the repository program, for a controller program, first annotation you have to always start with what? Run with runner.class actually. And next annotation, if I'm going for a repository program now, then I have to provide an annotation called
WebMVC test.
No, in a repository program I'm asking. In repository program, Spring Boot test annotation. And what is that Spring Boot test annotation is going to do now? It is going to take all your application.properties file or all your classes that has been created in your application. That and all I can able to access in my testing side with the help of an annotation called Spring Boot test annotation actually. And if I'm going to test my controller program now, then we have to provide what annotation?
REST controller.
WebMVC test. You have to provide an annotation called as your WebMVC test annotation. If I'm going to test any controller program, if I want to test it, means you have to provide an annotation called as your WebMVC test annotation. Now from the controller program, I'll be communicating with the repository program. I'll be communicating, but controller. If I'm going to write a test cases for the controller program now, then compulsory I have to provide an annotation called MVC test annotation. And now how I can able to provide all those mock information and all I can able to provide in the case of your controller program. You have to provide what what class you have to use it in the case of your controller MVC. You have to use a class called as your mock MVC actually. So and if I want to test the controller part, compulsory you have to provide it with a class called as your mock MVC class actually. And from the controller you will be communicating with the repository program. But if I communicate with the repository program, it will hit the database actually. So I want to mock my repository program. So for that purpose, you have to use an annotation called
mockbean
annotation. So yesterday's session we have discussed how to write the test cases for fetching all the student. Next, how to insert the student. That and all we have discussed actually. So anyone share your screen. Now we'll go for the next thing for. So everyone go to your controller program. Not this one. Yesterday's project. Come down. So we have done the test cases for the slash, we have done the test cases for save, we have done the test cases for the view student. So now we are going to write the test cases for the slash edit student, the delete student slash student ID. We are going to write it actually. So we are going to do the test cases for the delete student actually. Okay, sir. And delete student now on the successful deleting, it was redirecting to the view student part. Redirecting to the view student part. Okay, copy the code from the chat window and paste it. Hello. Where you are going to paste it?
Repository.
Right now we are discussing what concept we are discussing. Where you have to write it? Hitashni, right now we are discussing about what concept?
Test, sir.
Test. Yesterday you created one program, no? Student controller test. Student controller test. Formatted. Time speed was showing error.
Static.
Mockito times. Add your static import for Mockito times. Click that. Add your static import for Mockito time. And similarly for verify also, add your Mockito static import for verify. Keep your cursor pointer on verify. Add your static import for Mockito.verify. So now here what we have given actually, integer ID is equal, because delete by student now, it is going to delete a particular student based on an ID actually. So I am going to define an ID called integer ID equal to 1, mock MVC.perform, and we are going to perform what request we are going to perform?
Delete student.
What request we are going to perform?
Get request.
Get request actually. And get request, what is the request we are passing?
Delete student slash
Delete student slash
1.
1. So go to your controller program once. Just go to your controller program once. So we have given your delete student, yes, a small letter. Delete student, yes, a small letter in your thing. Delete student slash student ID. So this only we are going, for this one only we are writing your under test cases actually. So go under changes, delete student, yes, small letter. Delete student, yes, small letter. So delete student slash 1 and okay, go to your controller program. Go to your controller program. So after deleting, it is redirecting to which page?
View student.
View student page actually. So now go to the controller program and expect status is redirection actually. Okay. So and expect status is 3x redirection actually. Go to your test program. So we have given unexpect status is 3x redirection because we are doing a redirect option. Unexpect view name, what we are redirecting actually, we are redirecting to a request called as your slash view student actually. Now I'm going to call verify because I'm going to Mockito it because we have given a Mockito repository as your Mockito mock object actually. So how I'm going to verify now with the help of a method called verify repo, how many times that particular method delete by ID method is going to be invoked, times is what? 1 time. Okay, so I am going to invoke my delete by ID 1 time. It is going to invoke it actually. So it is going to verify that particular delete by ID method of your repository. It is going to be invoked. How many times it will be invoking?
1 time.
1 time. Now run it and check whether the test case is passed. Run it and check whether the test case is passed. Okay. So everyone, is it passed?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now go to the controller program. Go to your controller program.
Error in the code.
Import it. Share your screen. I think cut it and paste it once again. Copy it, cut it, paste in a notepad, and once again try to paste over here. Vaibhav. Keep your cursor pointer over there. Invalid. Okay. Just give Control A, Control X, Control V. Line number 72. What is it? Invalid token. Okay, delete that line number 72 alone and type it. Vaibhav.
Paste to delete student by ID method. By ID method.
Now format it. Now run. Okay. Now everyone go to your controller program. Everyone go to your controller program. Okay, delete student is completed. Edit student is also completed. Come down. Now we are going to write the logic for the slash update actually. Sorry, now we are going to write the test cases for the slash update actually, because after editing, if I'm going to click the submit button now, we are going to give a request called as your slash update, and it is going to update all the information into the database. It is going to be updated actually. So for that purpose, we are going to use your
Slash update.
slash update. Copy the code from the chat and paste it. Copy the code from the chat window and paste it in your controller test and format it, import it and format it. It is util date. Format it.
Done, sir.
Okay. So go to the program. So we created a student. ST is equal to new student. We have given some ID, name, all those stuff we have given actually. And in we have given mockito.when repo.save. So I'm going to store inside my database repo.save of ST, then return ST actually. So it is going to return your and the student object itself. It is going to return. Now I'm going to perform post. Post we are going to give a request called as your slash update. We are going to give it and expect. We are going to give a redirection. We are going to redirect to your view student. So we are giving status as 3x redirection. And what is the view name it is returning? Redirect : slash
New student.
new student. Okay. So now run it and check the test case.
Failures.
Failure now. Go to the JUnit part. Was saying response status 200, but it's good. I think yesterday for some people it was coming like this. Now what we have done. Email. Okay, email. I think not going to be edit student. Email.
Email is empty.
Sir, same data, sir. So I think it's not updating. For
Okay, might
yesterday,
be changed the some other values. Hey, instead of 11, try to give some other thing, some other number, Vaibhav.
Yes, sir.
Instead of 11. Thirteen is also we have done. Check for some other number. Now try. Go to the console.
also
Field. Edit student on field email.